So, what about the Anunnaki, one might ask? The ancients themselves were quite clear about what it was exactly they were worshipping, and fancifully describing in epic poetry. The speculation is not needed, as, for example, the Sumero-Babylonians themselves said that the gods were the planets, not people, and that their stories were myths representing personifications of these bodies. The Anunnaki play a part in the mythos, but they are not people, human or otherwise. The Anunnaki, in general, represent the 7 nether spheres and guardians of the 7 gates through which the Son of God passes into the netherworld or darkness. They are also the tutelary spirits of the earth. So, immediately we encounter a problem which reveals that what Sitchin is putting forth is not what the ancients themselves said of the traditions they themselves developed. Like so many before him, Sitchin also wants to make the main character of the celestial mythos, the sun, into a person. Actually, he wants to make it into several extraterrestrials. These various gods found around the globe, such as Osiris, Horus, Krishna, Hercules, Jesus and Quetzalcoatl, are not people or aliens, but personifications of the solar hero, as was stated by the peoples who created them. The ancients were not so dumb that they mistook planets for people, even though they personified those planets, and, where the knowledge or gnosis of the mythos was lost, they hoped for the incarnation, or the canalization or appearance of a god. There is no need to recreate the wheel here, by speculating upon what the ancients really meant. A generally accepted view of the universe in antiquity was the doctrine of the planetary spheres, conceived as great crystal domes, or inverted bowls nested inside one another over the earth, turning independently of one another at various rates, and emitting the music of the spheres with their motions. The theory was evolved to explain the apparently erratic movement of planets against the background of the fixed stars. Reading from the innermost sphere outward, arranging them according to the days of the week, they were the spheres of the Moon, Mars, Mercury, Jupiter, Venus, Saturn, and the Sun. Outermost was the 8th sphere, the Empyrean, the home of fixed spheres and the ultimate god, the highest heaven. As a corollary to this theory, it was also assumed that there were 7 nether spheres descending under the earth, the 7 hells to which Dumuzi and Inanna, or Tammuz and Ishtar, journeyed, whose 7 gates were guarded by the 7 Anunnaki or Maskim, the nether counterparts of the planetary spirits. According to an Akkadian magic tablet, they proceed from the ocean depths, from the hidden retreat. From the ancient idea of the 7 nether spheres, Dante took his vision of the descending circles of hell. Early Christians taught that each human soul descends from heaven, picking up one of the 7 deadly sins from each planetary sphere along the way, lust from Venus, anger from Mars, and so on. After death, the soul returned to the highest heaven, shedding the same sins one by one, while passing the innkeeper of the spheres, providing, of course, that the soul was Christianized, and therefore properly enlightened. One of these Anunnaki was Ningizida, a lesser god of the underworld, and one of the guardians of the gate of heaven. When we study what the ancients said about them, we discover that the Anunnaki and others are part of the celestial mythos, not aliens. These Anunnaki are, in fact, the 7 nether spheres or mirror images of the 7 planets. These 7 judges are a common mythical motif, also found in Slavic/Serbian mythology, for example, where they are clearly identified as the planets. Among the Serbs the sun was a young and handsome king. He lived in a kingdom of light, and sat on a throne of gold and purple. At his side, stood 2 beautiful virgins, Aurora of the morning and Aurora of the evening, 7 judges, the planets, and 7 messengers who flew across the universe in the guise of stars with tails, comets. Also present was the sun's bold uncle, old Myosites, or the moon. As we can see, the reality of this issue is much more colorful and luminous than a group of bizarre aliens terrorizing cavemen. This information is what the ancients themselves wrote. They did not write, and so the Anunnaki were sky people from another planet who landed here, and mated with humans, etc. In fact, Anunnaki is a generic term for gods, especially secondary gods, and means gods of heaven and earth, not those who from heaven to earth came. Anu means sky, and represents the name of the god of heaven, while Ki means earth, and is the name of the earth goddess as noted. The Anunnaki were numbered 900 as well, some of whom apparently represented the stars, that is, the zodiac, or heavenly host, as worshipped by the Canaanites and Hebrews.